Guys, Uma is ready to launch.
You guys probably remember almost exactly a year ago, we dropped our keel, added new keel bolts, and rebedded everything. Well, since then, we've been slowly working on the bottom of the hull to bring it up to speed. And over the last couple of months, we've been priming and sending and fairing and priming and sending and fairing a lot. And last week, we finally did the last 3 coats of primer, which means we're finally ready now to do our bottom paint. But we do have some things that we still need to install before we paint, so this is what this week's about.
There's 5 things that we need to finish installing. One is the through hull for our depth sounder. Previously, what we had was one of these, it does depth and temperature, and then this little paddle wheel tells you how fast you're going through the water. It's a little knot log. However, these little knot logs tend to get fouled up with sea growth because you can't really put anti-foul on them. As long as they're spinning, they're okay, but then you sit in a marina for a while, stuff grows in there, it clogs up this little wheel, and then you don't know how fast you're going through the water anymore. So normally you'd have to pull this plug out in the boat, put a little cap on this, clean this out, put it back in. It's kind of annoying. You always get water in the boat, even though there is like a little flap in there that kind of helps, and there's a cap and a plug you can put on there. You end up getting water in the boat. It's annoying, and this is always in like a very inconvenient place on the boat to access it. Especially now because we're putting this through hull under our V-berth where it's behind a watertight bulkhead. So this time around we opted to upgrade the sensor to this one, which has nothing spinning in the bottom. This is ultrasonic speed, depth, and temperature sensor. And because there's no moving parts, we never really have to clean it. So we never have to pull this out, which is convenient because where we're installing this is upside down in the V-berth locker. So we need to drill and install the through hull for that, and then this slides down inside of it. I've already glassed in and bogged in a relatively flat place for this to be installed. I hope it's not too thick, but I guess we'll find out when we drill a hole in there. Because this does need to have threads that go down and tighten on it, and I hope it's not too thick. But we'll find out later when we drill a hole in the boat. The other 4 things we need to install are underwater lights. These are by lvanTheTerrible. They're their brand new Sea Blaze X3s. They're a pretty good balance between brightness and power consumption. Some of the really big sort of through hull underwater lights that kind of mount like this consume a ton of power. But I should probably walk through a little bit of our underwater light story because we're not just getting them because they look cool. When we were at Just Catamarans many years ago, they had some underwater lights that they wanted us to test, and so they offered to put them on our boat, and we're like, sure, why not? It'd be fun, have underwater lights. And we put 2 in the cockpit locker, and we thought like, whatever, like it'll be kind of fun to have them. But there's actually 2 situations offshore sailing that we've actually really liked having underwater lights. One was for fun, and one was for safety. The fun version was when you're just kind of ghosting along at night and you turn the underwater lights on and there's dolphins beside you. It is absolutely magical to just see them just like chilling beside the boat. When we were off the coast of North Carolina sailing north, we had that happen from about midnight to 6 a.m. at sunrise. And we just sat there and watched dolphins swimming beside us for 6 hours. The safety reason is when we're offshore and it's pitch black and it's overcast and there's no stars and there's no moon and the sea state's confused and gross, and we need to do something on deck or change the sails or try to steer or tack, being able to turn the underwater lights on is actually really helpful because it illuminates the ocean 1 or 2 wave trains over, so you can actually see the next wave coming and you can see it leaving and you can turn in the trough without sort of being caught off guard by a weird confused wave that comes up on the side or the beam. And having underwater lights as a safety feature on an offshore boat is something I've never heard talked about before. But being able to see waves coming and going in a confused sea at night has been really, really helpful so we don't get caught off guard. So that's one of the reasons why we're installing them. However, we are installing 4 of them. There's one down here on the table. 4 of them. So now we're gonna have 2 on the bow and 2 on the stern. And the cool part about these is they're externally mounted. You just drill one small little 1/2-inch hole up through the boat for the wire, cover this with a bunch of Sikaflex, and then put some screws in, just kind of hold it in place while the Sika dries. Now all we need to do is take the little mounting template out to the boat and figure out where to drill these holes, because we don't want to mess this up this late in the build and have to patch more holes in the boat. Come out right?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Good.
Sweet. Let's drill a bigger hole.
Yeah. Actually, guys, before we start drilling holes in our boat, let's quickly talk about the sponsor of this week's video, Incogni. So, after over a decade sharing our lives online, we're very much used to putting ourselves out there. But there's a big difference between sharing some information yourself and sharing a video and having your personal information quietly copied and spread over a bunch of data brokers in the background without you even knowing about it. That's where it's annoying. And in theory, you can track every single one of those sites yourself and ask them to personally remove your information. And sometimes they listen, but that takes hours and sometimes even days. And even if they remove it, there is never a guarantee that your information is not going to just pop back up again later, and then you have to start the entire process all over again. That's where Incogni comes in. Incogni is a service that helps you find the information that is spread out there without you knowing about it and sends an official removal request on your behalf. You just give them the details that they need to get started, and then from there, everything works in the background. They also offer custom removal. So if you find your information on a random website somewhere, you can just provide the link to Incogni and then they will handle removing your information from that site for you. Because we can't control every single corner of the internet. Sadly, I really wish we did, but that's not the reality we live in. However, this is one of the ways that you can start cleaning up what's already out there. So if you want to try it out, you can head over to incogni.com/SailingUma and use the code SailingUma to save 60% off an annual plan. On that note, all right, we need to drill some holes.
Yeah. This is the one I have the biggest question mark about because I really hope that that's long enough to get through here. Absolutely perfect. It's meant to be like...
Yeah. Here goes nothing.
I remember the last one was a little bit shorter, but I don't really remember how thick of a pedestal I made for it. So, yeah, well, no time like the present. Ready?
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
There's no good place for
Yeah, I mean it helped, but it's too windy.
Alright, you ready? Moment of truth. That's it. Is it too short? It's really close, but it's not. It should be flush, right?
Oh, that is really close. Dang. I mean,
So we can just bang it down.
so like, this is our hull. Like, this is all the glass that is our hull there. And then this is the pedestal I made on the top. This is the pedestal I made on the bottom.
Could we just
With
like
glass on the bottom,
grind down
glass on the
ever
top.
so slightly, like just the where this sits, like just like a little insert? Oh,
Yeah,
so
I told you.
close.
It's like the thickness of the glass off. It's close, but not as flush as we want it to be. This little puck should be directly flush so that we know that the two seals inside are perfectly sealed against each other. I was just kind of eyeballing it when I built it. The problem is that our hull slopes up, so I had to build a pedestal on the outside to flatten it and a pedestal on the inside to flatten it, and we ended up with something that thick. And it's literally like the thickness of that extra glass layer thicker than it should be. So yeah, I think what we'll do is we're just gonna trace it on the inside and just grind down a little bit. So it's still like nice and glassed on the inside and we don't like sacrifice any of the structure on the outside.
Yeah.
Because the inside is just filler. So we'll just use a file sander, sand it down just a little bit. Or like a spinny thing. Maybe like a hole saw or something. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But we need to clear like 2 or 3 millimeters and that'll be perfect. So it's really close, but it's not quite there yet. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's not as good as I wished it was going to be. Put it that way.
It's bad enough we need to fix it.
It's bad enough we need to fix it, but it's not so bad that we need to like spend all day fixing it. We just need to spend 20 minutes fixing it. Yeah, I think grinding on the inside is going to be easier. All right, that's all the hole saw I need, and now I'm just gonna use the file sander.
Like 1 millimeter.
Yeah, I just need a better grip
Almost,
on it.
but not there yet. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm bottomed out anyway, and I have space.
This is flush on my end.
Perfect.
It's perfect.
All right, I'll come out and sand the outside, and then we can Sika and put it in.
Okay. Sweet.
Sweet. All right, show yours.
Sweet.
My boobs are like twice as big because they're so like inflamed from leaning over that corner, and I can't touch my nipples. You'll know why. Oh, it's right on my rib cage. All right, we just need to sand the outside now, and then we can install it. Fits.
Nice. That was an easy solution.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was, again, not as bad as it could have been, but easier than it also could have been. All right, you want to vacuum it again? I'll clean up the outside bit. And then...
Yeah.
To prime all the support at the bottom. Beautiful. All right. It's gonna be squishy.
It's gonna be super squishy. Hopefully you can reach.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
The light died somehow. And it's also like as tight as I can absolutely possibly make it, like this.
Well, all we have to do next is mask everything, and then we'll be ready for the bottom paint. Amazing! Everything's good. Everything is prime and ready, and then we're just gonna let it sit and dry a little bit more, and then the next step is going to be bottom paint. I'm excited.
Piece of shit. Look at it. I thought Makita made good tools.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
This thing's on fire. Look at number 1 and number 2.
Oh my god, it's like smoking.
Not. It's the clutch. I think the motor's dead, eh? We just need to mix this paint and then we can be done with this drill. Nah, I think it's fucked.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Well,
Should we like pour
bury
some
it.
water in it?
Should we take it out back and shoot it? Well, it's drilled its last holes, I think. This one. Look at all that. All right.
Well,
We'll bring in the 6-year-old Makita, see if we can keep up. Oh. Oopsies. So we are going for another ablative anti-foul paint. It sort of sloughs off the more we sail, the more it kind of self-polishes and takes away all the marine growth with it. It's basically the same stuff we've been using for the last 8 years. We know it works well. We've sailed with it from the Caribbean all the way to the Arctic and back. So we're putting it back on again because it's proven on our boat. There are plenty of other sort of more environmentally friendly alternatives to ablative biopaint, silicon-based stuff and ultrasonic-based stuff and skins you can put on. We've also had friends that have tried, well, we started with a DIY version of Copper Coat, which didn't work. A bunch of the charter boats here at the shipyard have tried to put on that like felt stuff that's like a sticker that goes on the hull. They all did that last year and they all ripped it off this year and went back to a normal ablative paint because it works really, really well. It is kind of toxic, and that's sort of the point because it's supposed to prevent growth on your hull so that you can actually sail. And I would imagine if there's a bunch of boats in a marina and it's all sloughing off, the water inside of that marina could be affected. But for a little boat like us out on the ocean, far away from everybody else, there's just not a better alternative that we know of. We'll happily try out anything if a company's willing to pay to have it put on and then also pay to have it taken off if it doesn't work. So that's sort of our call to the marine industry. If somebody out there wants to do it, we'll do it, but we're not going to be on the hook for a couple $1,000s for a haul out and paying somebody to put something back on if the product doesn't work. So for now, we're sticking with what we know and what works well, and we've got a lot of it to put on. We're going to put a lot of layers so we don't have to do this every year. Oh my God, it's so thick. Oh, it's heavy too. Man. Are you ready?
Let's do this. Oh my god, it's so thick. Look at this.
It's so
like
satisfying.
the thickest paint. Damn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
See how that feels? Wait, it's a circle, and then a huh, and then a huh, and then ha. Wait, ha. Art. I mean, where? Chica.
It's one way to erase them.
Nice.
All right, that was our last coat. We did 5 coats over the whole hull, and then 2 extra coats on the waterline and kind of down the front of the keel and rudder. And we are done putting bottom paint on Uma for now. Every time we've done a bottom job in the past, there's always at least a few people in the comment section that ask how we paint underneath the stands. So I'll just address that now. We're gonna wait for the paint to dry. And normally if you're doing a bottom job, like right before you launch, the crane comes, they lift you up and you spend like an hour just putting more bottom paint on everywhere. But since we're still a ways away from launching, we'll wait a couple of days for the bottom paint to fully dry. And then we'll just move the stands one by one or bring in some extra stands and brace where the bottom paint's done. And then remove the second set of stands and sand and prime and paint underneath where the stands are. But yeah, now is the most exciting part of any paint job, and that is taking the masking tape off. I like it. It's clean. It's a clean, clean, clean line. But it's
Don't touch it.
It's thick.
She looks
so good.
She looks so good. Oh my goodness. She looks like our truck. Same color palette, but wow. Oh, I'm so happy that we did a meticulous job making sure that it was aligned properly and we did all the layers and ooh, I'm so happy. She looks awesome. The boom looks weird on the side, but whatever.
This has turned out really, really, really well. We have so many layers of bottom paint on here. I think it's probably going to last us like 3 or 4 years before we have to repaint it. So I'm excited for that. One thing we didn't really maybe cover in as much detail as we probably should have when we installed our through hulls, because you guys had some questions, where our bottom paint stops and our hull paint starts isn't actually our waterline. Our waterline is here. So it's almost 20 centimeters lower than where we painted. And that's because boats move and there's waves and they rock back and forth and stuff grows above your waterline. Usually the piece of paint here is called a boot stripe, and it's a different color than your bottom paint and your hull, and it's just normal like hull paint. But what we found is that the growth that sticks on that, it's really hard to clean off, and then you get this like fuzzy beard and it looks gross, and then you try to chip it off and the paint chips off. So last time we did our bottom paint, we just covered the whole boot stripe with bottom paint as well, the anti-foul paint. And that's worked really, really well, because when the boat's in the water, it's sitting on its water line and it just looks like a boot stripe, but then it's really easy to clean as well. So growth doesn't stick to it, and it looks pretty normal, and it's just worked out for us really well. So this time we sanded everything down. We sanded all the old paint from our old bottom paint and boot stripe off, and then we just barrier coated and did our bottom paint all the way up. But you can still sort of feel where our old factory waterline is, because there's still a few more extra layers of epoxy and paint there. So things like the washing machine through hull, although it looks like it's below our waterline, it's actually about, our waterline's right here. So it's actually pretty far above the waterline still, although we still have through hulls on those, so it's not really an issue. Speaking of which, the other thing we didn't really fully cover, I don't think, is that right here is the bulkhead for our V-berth. So all of the hull perforations are forward of that bulkhead, and that bulkhead's watertight down and around in the bilge. So the washing machine, the underwater light, the transducer, the head, and the shower, and the other underwater light are all in that V-berth compartment. So it's watertight, so if any of those things leak, we're just gonna get a few liters of water in the boat, but nothing's gonna go into our main bilge. And then the other one back here, just between the ocean bolt and this drain, so right here is the other big watertight bulkhead between our main cabin and the cockpit. And then these ocean bolt motors and their cooling fins are also in watertight compartments. So in the cockpit, we've got like our cockpit drains, and we've got the galley drain and the raw water intake for the HVAC and the water maker, and then the bilge pumps. And then back here, we've got the outlets for the water maker and the HVAC. And all of those are also in our cockpit locker, which is also sealed off from the main salon. So from this bulkhead to the V-berth bulkhead in our main cabin, where the main bilge is, there are 0 hull perforations at all. So 0 things that can potentially leak, which is pretty cool to have our boat separated into 3 watertight compartments. So if our rudder ever gets damaged, or any of these through hulls leak, or anything happens, or a pipe breaks, all of that water stays outside the main salon, and our boat's not going to sink. So I'm not going to say it's unsinkable, but we've eliminated every potential for it to sink. So it's the least likely to sink possible. Right here, everything forward of this finger and aft of this finger is where all the hull perforations are. And everything between these fingers,
Actually, a little bit,
is 0 hull perforations below the waterline. So now that all of the bottom paint is done and the through hulls are installed and the keel's back on and everything's been faired and the rudder's back on, everything from the waterline down is finished, which means we can launch, technically. But we still have a ton of work to do inside and quite a bit more rigging to do on deck. And it's much easier to do that on the hard here, where we have access to our container. So we're choosing to stay on the hard for a little bit longer, which is a very difficult decision to make, because all we want to do is go in the water. But we're still going to wait a few more weeks because we have more interior work to finish. But it feels really good to know that if we had to, we could go in the water and we wouldn't sink. So we'll see you guys next week. Cheers!